Hey everybody, my name is Kobe Warner. This is koblizzy, and I'm excited to be back for another episode. I came to you last week for the first time. Sorry. Mind in the gutter. I came to you last week. I talked about moving to New York City, and obviously, hold on. ASMR moment. It's not an episode of koblizzy without LaCroix. Ordinarily, I prefer limoncello LaCroix. That's my like favorite and like only. You know how like some people like variety. I'm not one of those people. So like in almost every capacity, I find one thing that I like or two things that I like, and I just go with that one. And so with LaCroix, I really like limoncello, and I really like lime, and lemon's like the backup. And like those are the only flavors I drink. And so I actually was thinking about starting something new this week. Me, my friend Georgia from Georgia that I grew up with, and her girlfriend Felicia, who's from Brooklyn, came up to the city this week to visit Brooklyn, and I got to hang out with them twice. The first day we went to Hudson Yards, which is like a mall, and then we went on like this like walking path thing over on the west side on the water, like in the meatpacking district, like really like far south on Manhattan. And then the second day, we were supposed to, we were supposed to like they were supposed to come over to my apartment, and then I ended up falling asleep early, and they were staying up late, so we were just on different schedules. And so then we rescheduled for the next day, and they came over, and we just like hung out and like had a key. But one of the things that we talk about, or one of the things that we talked about while they were here, was hold on. Also into yerba mate right now, by the way. I started drinking these in college when I lived in Boston, and then I like didn't drink them again. And then I moved to New York and started drinking them again. I feel like I couldn't find them anywhere in Georgia except for this little market called Sprouts, and I could they were overpriced, but like they're always on sale at Whole Foods here. I digress. Georgia and I were talking about in high school when I came out. I I've made an episode about this before, but long story short, when I came out, I was a huge part of the children's program in the church I went to, and I was a contributing like vocal member, like a rotating vocal member of the band in the adult church, which and it was rare for like a kid to do that. So I was one of the only people that was recurring like as a child doing that in this church. And so they knew my face and they knew my name because of this. And so then when I like started publicly supporting queer people before I came out, I publicly was posted things on social media in support of gay people, as you do, Happy Pride Month, or whatever it may have been back in 2018. Do you know what I mean? And so there was a specific post that triggered the worship pastor who had brought me in to be a contributing, rotating member of this band as a vocal person, as a singer, a vocal person. um, anyway, yeah, I essentially left before they could kick me out or like, disassociate me from this program because they essentially were like calling into question my support of queer people. And they were like, if this is something that's important to you and that you're going to talk about publicly, like we're going to have to talk about this and it's going to affect the future of your leadership here. And so I just, at 15 years old, decided to not be a part of the church anymore. And then a couple of weeks later, I was like, you know what? There's no need to lie anymore. And then I came out as gay. And that was almost 7 years ago now, which is crazy. Or, yeah, almost seven. This summer, I'll have been gay for 7 years. That sounds funny to put it that way. I've always been gay, but I've been out for 7 years. And that that experience really affected me in a negative way, as maybe you can imagine. And I needed a therapist, which brings me back to my point. So Georgia and I um, we both came out to each other actually at the exact same time. And so we were both gay at the same time. We both needed therapy. And so I ended up going to the therapist that Georgia and her brother were going to because I didn't know of anybody else, and it was the only woman therapist option that I could find, and or that my mom could find for me. And I didn't really want to go to a man. Can you guys, just for future reference, I wonder if you can hear how loud the rattles, because it's rattling right now, and I can't do anything about it. Like, I even closed the window so you couldn't hear the metro train track. And I still feel like there's so much extra noise that I just can't do anything about. Recording vocals in this apartment is the only thing that makes, well, not the only thing, but it's one of the things that really drives me nuts about it, because it's so noisy in New York. Like, I'm so used to like being able to sit in the floor of my bedroom in Georgia and like get clean, quiet vocal takes. I mean, quiet as in the background. Um, anyway, so Georgia and I shared a therapist in high school, and long story short, once again, that lady, not only did she go to the church that I had to leave for being gay, but she, and I knew that, of course, but she supported me for many years, like in my gay journey, with navigating the first boy that I liked in high school, and like so many things. Come to find out, the lady's wildly homophobic, and we have that on good, what's the expression? On I have good reason to believe this. I don't know. I just like it's. There's no reason to believe that the person telling us she's wildly homophobic would be making this up, and so it just became a little bit like confusing. And obviously, I stopped going to her after this. And honestly, I haven't been able to find a good therapist since. But this all brings me back to my point. I was thinking about introducing something new this week to koblizzy, and I got the idea when George and I were discussing our old therapist. And every week when you'd go into your session with her, the first thing she would ask you, and maybe this is like a common therapy thing, I wouldn't know because I've never been able to find another good therapist. And not that she was good in retrospect, so maybe I've never had a good therapist. But anyway, I could really do a whole story time on her. Maybe I should. Um, yeah, like therapist, my therapist from hell. This week on My Therapist from Hell. Um, anyway, highs and lows. At the beginning of every session, she would ask you your highs of the week and she would ask you your lows. And I think along with the song of the week, I think I should implement something of that nature to like bring a more current aspect to each podcast. So I'm going to do highs and lows. This week, my highs were seeing Georgia and Felicia, visiting with them. Um, what else happened this week? I have made this podcast now 2 weeks in a row. That's a high. I I don't know, to be honest, it hasn't been that good of a week. Oh, I can do lows. Lows, last night I was supposed to go hang out with our friend from Boston that's visiting, hey Martin, and I couldn't go to the function because of my blood disorder. Hereditary angioedema. I wore the sweater today for a reason. Since I've moved to New York, well, let me start with the groundwork. I haven't talked. I do a lot of activism for hereditary angioedema, but I don't often speak about it like in my day-to-day life, and I'm trying to be better about this. And so I decided I would talk about it today on the podcast, which is not something I don't think I've done much on my own podcast. There's like a podcast for that with the Hereditary Angioedema Association. Oh my God, you should go listen to it. I've done like many episodes for that podcast. It's called Beyond HAE. And I mean, that's exactly how it sounds, Beyond HAE. And it's about patients and patient advocacy and caregivers and what it's like to be a rare disease patient, etc. And so, back to the point, I suffer from a rare disease called hereditary angioedema. Hereditary implies it's genetic and it runs in my family, and angioedema means swelling. Now, it's not just like they call any swelling angioedema. If you break your wrist and it's swollen where you broken your wrist, or you sprained your wrist and it's swollen, they're going to call that angioedema. It's not the same thing. When you couple the words hereditary and angioedema together and the acronym becomes HAE, it is a debilitating and life-threatening blood condition. That I mean, it can really alter the course of your life for the worse. And a lot of people aren't afforded the treatment that they need, and so that's a case in which I'm fortunate. And I'll get to that. But basically, what it is on a foundational level, it's a blood disorder or a blood disease. Disease is kind of an outdated term. Like when I was doing this patient advocacy work, they told me disease isn't the word you want to use. So a blood disorder or a condition, it is a rare disease though. It's the statistic I believe is 1 in 50,000 people possess an HAE diagnosis. and it's a part of many rare disease organizations, and we also have our own very strong patient organization. Now, what is it? There is a protein that you have in your blood if you're not an HAE patient called C1. I don't have C1. Because I don't have C1, I can't regulate the fluid that makes you swell the way that you can. When you're swelling, all it is fluid traveling to the place where you're swelling. I can't regulate it the same way you can if you have C1. And so I have to take medicines that are C1 inhibitors. There are various types. Now there are. This is obviously a modern medicine kind of thing. My mom was diagnosed in the 70s with HAE, and she didn't get treatment until 2011. So I'm just fortunate to grow up in a period of time within which the research and the financial backing supports real assistive treatments for HAE and not like steroids and other things that are not good treatments for HAE. And so basically, I can swell anywhere on my body as a result of physical stress, like actually doing physically stressful things, or as a result of experiencing a mental stress. Those are my two biggest triggers. But they can really happen just like whenever they want to. And once the fluid departs from where it's supposed to be and starts traveling to a place because the C1 isn't there to stop it, essentially. This is a very dumbed down, non-scientific version. But I have medicines that I take. There are prophylactic medicines, which are medicines that are supposed to be preventative. So you take them every so often on a schedule to keep from having attacks. And then there are medicines that are called acute medicines. Those are the rescue medications. So if you do have an attack, for whatever reason, that's the one you take in the event you're having an attack, whereas the other one's the medicine that you take on a schedule so you don't have attacks, if that makes sense, or an effort to not have attacks. And so the reason I'm giving you all this information is because since I've moved to New York City, I have been incredibly stressed out, and it's uncharted territory for me as far as living here. And I have never had so many HAE attacks in my life. It's March 21st as I tape this, and I have been having attacks a couple times a week, twice a week. And like that's something at least once a week since I've been here. And that's something that I've never experienced as an HAE patient. And there are a lot of factors, one being the new environment and the stress and the fact that I'm insane. But and stressed out and stressing myself out and going through a lot personally. And on the other hand, I also am like not taking my medication as well as I usually do because I don't have my mom in my ear saying, Kobe, it's medicine day, Kobe, it's medicine day. My prophylactic medication or my preventative medication I take every third day. So it's not like on the same day of the week or anything. It's like every 3 days I take the medicine. And so it's like I forget. But also I'm supposed to be like transitioning to this pill medication. I also forget that. Like I'm just like it's a me thing and it's a stress thing. It's like all the factors are creating this perfect storm of I'm having HAE attacks. And I literally couldn't go out last night because I had an HAE attack. And so yeah, I mean it just is what it is. It's just not like ideal. And I most of my life have not talked about HAE a lot in my personal life, but it's affecting me at this point, and I said I was going to do highs and lows, so there was my low. And so shout out to all the people dealing with HAE, all my HAE brothers, sisters, and otherwise, and to all the caregivers who take care of an HAE patient. Like, you guys are saints. And I wish my mother, who was my caregiver and also an HAE patient, I wish she was here because maybe I'd be taking my medicine better and not having breakthrough attacks. So that's my high and that's my low. That's something I'm going to do now on koblizzy. The high being nothing, the high being Georgia coming to visit, and the low being HAE. So now I'm going to talk about my songs of the week. And I talked about Mayhem last week and I talked about Killa and How Bad Do You Want Me, but I really wanted to like talk about Mayhem again and in more detail, actually. And so if you're not a Gaga fan, step to the side. But I just feel like I've had more thoughts. I have more things to say. I'm really into Mayhem. And even the songs that on first listen I maybe didn't love, I really love them now. There's only one song that gives me a challenge sonically, but it's still a song that has a part that I really adore in the song that's catchy and is stuck in my ear. So even that is an earworm and it's not my favorite. So a couple of discoveries. I have really, I think I said this last week, I've consumed a lot of the Gaga media. Like this press tour I've been sat for. And it's been really a joy and a pleasure to listen to her talk about her art and to talk about pop music in a way that's reminiscent of the way she used to discuss it. And she just won the Innovator Award at the iHeart Radio Awards this past week. And Doechii presented it to her, another one of my faves. And her speech was magnificent. A couple of things. She's taking every possible moment that she can right now to stand up for queer and for trans people. And I think that's incredibly respectable, especially in this climate, because most celebrities would rather just not cause the controversy, but this is something she's always stood for and something she's always been adamant for and vocal about. And she's always been adamant for our community's rights and vocal about what we deserve as people. And I'm grateful that she hasn't faltered even in this current climate, because this is when it's the most important, number one. Number two, back to the music. I think that this album is almost starting to feel, as new as this sound is for her in some capacity, it almost feels like the Eras Tour Lady Gaga in an album. Like, it almost feels like an exploration of her career. So I'm going to bring up Taylor Swift, which I feel like is a weird person to compare to Lady Gaga. But when Midnights came out, an album I enjoy, by the way, enjoyed much more than the Tortured Poets Department. Midnights kind of has elements of like every other Taylor Swift era. And a lot of fans noticed that each song kind of reminded them of a specific Taylor Swift era. And so apply that concept, if you will. Follow me. Let's go on a journey. To Mayhem. Apply this concept to Mayhem. Disease feels very new in sound, but it feels like dark, grungy pop, like early Gaga, like the Fame Monster. To be honest, and I don't think it's exactly chronology as far as the eras go in the track listing. I think she ordered the songs more by how they sounded best together. But Disease feels like the early Gaga to me. Abracadabra feels like the Fame Monster to me. Garden of Eden feels like the Fame or the Fame Monster. Perfect Celebrity feels Born This Way. Vanish Into You is a standout for me. And it kind of is like reminiscent of maybe like a more like later Gaga sound, like Joanne. Killa is really off the wall. I don't know where that influence comes from in Gaga's earlier career, but it would be the beginning. Zombie Boy feels the Fame. Love Drug, the Fame. How Bad Do You Want Me is definitely the Fame. Don't Call Tonight. Shadow of a Man. The Beast and Bladed Grass. Once you get to the end, The Beast, Bladed Grass, Die With a Smile, it starts to feel like Gaga's more recent, latter career. And so, loosely, I feel like the track listing of this album, because it starts with the more pop feeling, and then it gets into more like a funk disco thing, and then it gets into like the bubblegum pop kind of vibe, Love Drug, How Bad Do You Want Me, Don't Call Tonight even kind of. Shadda-do-o feels early Gaga to me. Shadda-wo, she loves to make words up. But also Shadda-do and Shallow kind of shalala-lo, shalala-lo, Shadda-do, Shadda-do-o. I'm not saying it's on purpose. I'm just saying like it feels more recent Gaga. The Beast feels like the Joker. Feels honestly, that's my least favorite song. And I love the chorus, but the verses don't really do it for me. That song feels like it could be on the Joker, the Harlequin album, to be honest. And Blade of Grass and Die With a Smile feel very like a Star Is Born era, or like Blade of Grass, even the melody, while it's not a jazz song, it kind of feels like that melody pulls from a more classical music influence just because the melody is really interesting. And Die With a Smile, obviously, 150 Days and Counting, #1 on the Spotify Global Chart, obviously a record, and by big margins. And so I just think Gaga's like really, I really like Mayhem. I really love the Abracadabra video. I really love the SNL performances. I'm really looking forward to what else is coming. I'm really looking forward to Coachella. And I really hope I can get tours get tickets to the tour or to the ball or whatever we're gonna call it. I just really like this record, and I loved how she made a point, in her speech to say it's crazy that we're calling a 35-year-old pop star aged, or that's old for a pop star, but it shouldn't be, and we should stop doing that. And I think she should keep calling attention to that. Or 38 years old, she's a 38-year-old woman, and she's kind of in her prime. Like, Born This Way sold 1 million copies first week. You'll Never Let Me Forget It. But let's talk about the quality of the art. It's the same way Beyonce's biggest albums aren't her best albums. Her best albums are records like Cowboy Carter, which are severely underrated in numbers, but critically incredibly acclaimed, and also so deserving of that acclaim. Because the exploration of art, making art, that's what it's about. I feel like the people on the Twitter, that's why I had to like get off the internet. For most of the beginning of this year, I did not have any social media apps on my phone, because I feel like the brain dead like people behind these keyboards were starting to like rub off on me and wear me down. And yeah, I'm just like, do you guys care about sales and charts and numbers, or do you care about like art and impact? Which is it? Because if it's about sales and charts and numbers, that's kind of corny. You know what I mean? I love a yerba mate. I wish I wasn't gone. And you put it out of the way so I don't forget, and then try to drink it and get disappointed. What else is on my list? I have a list, believe it or not, of what I wanted to say. Mayhem. This season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So I'm like fully caught up on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This season's good. That's all I was gonna say. I'm like, it's not like incredible, but it's much better than it has been for the past couple of years. I'm into it. I'm caught up on the new season of Atlanta. It's only 2 episodes, but I'm watching Atlanta this season. I wish Kenya wasn't gonna be gone soon, but other than that, it's fine. Like, it's good. I kind of just watch those now, like, for the fact that I've watched the rest of it, so I just like want to keep up. Because I don't know if like I was starting at this point, if it would have enticed me the way it did based on how it was when I started watching that kind of programming. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, Real Housewives of Potomac this past season, they lost me. They fully lost me. I was like, what is going on, and where is Candace? Like, this is a mess. So yeah, I also am getting back into Married to Medicine. I started watching that one like a couple of months ago, and then ended up watching something else. And I don't know why. Oh my God, it is so funny. I watched that all night last night when I was laying on the couch feeling like shit. So funny. Um, I want to start getting back to the AMC. Since I moved here, I've been to the movie theater one time. Jalen and I went to see The Monkey, and then we were supposed to go see Moonlight. Didn't make it. Literally had the ticket and everything. Didn't even cancel the ticket. Just didn't go. It was like a special re-release, and I was just so tired. It was so late at night by the time when I could actually get a ticket, it was only for late night showings. And by the time it gets a certain time, I get sleepy. I'm an old lady these days. And so I want to go to the AMC and see some shit like I used to. I used to go to the AMC a couple of times a week in almost all of my free time. And I haven't been there in so long. And between that and not being able to take baths the same way I used to, I think maybe that's why I'm so insane in New York City. Because, like, I've been nuts since I've been here. I'm happy to be here, but I've been crazy. Struggling with HAE breakthrough attack. Oh, wow. Really detailed notes. Like, I didn't write anything else down. Like, that is so crazy. I guess really, I think how candid am I going to be? I guess candid. How recently, wow, don't know where to start. Transitional periods are difficult. And they're especially difficult for me. I feel like, obviously, I've never lived in another body. Or maybe I have. I don't know about that reincarnation stuff. If they're onto something that I have lived in another body, I don't remember it. And so only having remembered living in this body, I've only ever struggled with transition. I can't think of a transition that I navigated with only excitement. And somebody pointed out to me after listening to my last episode, my mom on the phone was talking about, I think it was my mom, she's talking about like, reality checks and expectations. And I was, oh, that part was so good. You should post a clip of that on Instagram. And I was like, okay. And she's right, by the way, I should have posted a clip of that on Instagram. But I think you know, what struck me the most is obviously you can't appreciate the good things, like truly, without having the context of complicated or bad things. But sometimes life goes so hard. And so it's like, yeah, obviously I wouldn't know something's good if I didn't know what bad was. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I didn't know how bad something was, I wouldn't be like, oh, this is incredible. Oh, thank God I'm not where I was. But sometimes I'm like, how much, in the words of Lucky Day and Yeba, how much can a heart take? Like, ouch. And I've been writing a lot of songs recently. I will say something. Me as a songwriter, at least in my songwriting journey thus far, like never say never, and things change all the time. But I've found that like when my songwriting is deeply reflective of where I'm at, and I know that's not unique, but it's hard for me to fake shit. Like, and I forget. Like, I've written some very depressing songs in the past, some of my best work, and I've revisited them and sang them. And recently I've been a little upset, about some things. And so I've been writing like some of these songs and I was like, wow, I forgot what it took for me to create that. Because the way that I felt about some of the things that I've, ended up trying to like orate or articulate with in song or through music and through lyrics, that's just kind of my process. Is like the art is like reflective of where I'm coming from. And so like years ago when I put out Bad Bitch, I must have been feeling myself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, damn, you were in a great place. Because I probably couldn't have said those things if I wasn't feeling like that. Like, I'm not writing Bad Bitch right now. I have gone to the piano time and time again and played minor chord progressions, and it's like maybe if I like pulled out the little beat pad thing and do and started, maybe I could come up with something. But I just don't know if it would be as honest and as clandestine as Bad Bitch was. It was like a moment of me feeling so great about myself and it fleeted. So it's like that's what I mean by clandestine. It's like it I mean music and I mean I guess songwriting as a process for me is just kind of clandestine. Everything is reminiscent of that moment. It's like a photograph almost. You take a picture and I love to have personal photos posted in my room. In this room specifically, there are like 4x6s lining almost every larger poster in the room. Here, over there, right here, and all these are for film photos. I've been collecting film photos of my life over the past years, and so I desaturated them all and I printed them in black and white just for this room. But I look at these photos and I'm like, I'll never be in that moment again. I'll never be there again. And that was fleeting. And that was clandestine. And that won't happen again. I might never see that person again. And I think of songs the same way. Because I usually write things all the way. Like sometimes I write down like a lyric or two or like a verse or a stanza, a couple stanzas, and save it for later. I save it for years even. But usually I'll write a whole lyric out at one time, even if it's not set to music, even if it's like poetry, even if it's messy, even if, all the syllables don't fit into the cadence and I have to edit it later. The general idea will usually come out at one time as long as I'm not interrupted. And it's like a time capsule of what was on my spirit in that moment. And as you make things, and sometimes it takes years to produce music, and so I might be so far away from the place where I was when I wrote that lyric, but that's the moment it's indicative of. You know what I mean? It's like a photograph. And I own these moments, these memories, they're mine, the same way I own the feelings that made me write a song. But it the fact, just because you were there and something happened to you, it's like, I don't know, I have to remind myself not to dwell. It's like, yeah, it's mine and I own it, but I also own present time And I feel like, and I think I was talking about being present last week. You really do yourself a disservice. You can tell I'm kind of coming from the same place in my heart that I was in last week's episode. You really do yourself a disservice, I think, to not live in the present. um, yeah, like I don't know. Big, unique feeling. That's why I think this is such a unique time for me to get back to this podcast. That's why I need to start bringing on some goddamn guests so y'all can hear somebody else. Because I've never been so honest. I've never been so honest here. I don't know if I've ever been, not that I've never been honest here in general, but I've never been so candid about how I'm personally feeling, I don't think. And granted, I really don't remember any of the episodes I've literally made ever. So maybe I used to spill my spirit to you all and I don't remember. But I don't think so. And I just think like it almost made me like today. I wanted to tape this episode yesterday so I could get it out on time today, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. I really had a horrible day yesterday. I was just laying and just trying to get the stuff done in the computer and press enter and press send and get the to-do list done. And as soon as I could, I laid on that couch. And granted, I didn't feel well, but it was just like my mind didn't feel well either. And that happens to me when I'm not busy. That's why I'm like, a lot of times people that are in my personal life or like people that know me personally in the day to day, like that know what I'm doing. I also like don't talk to people much. And so I'm not the type of person to be like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I tell my mom, but I'm not like, oh, here I am and doing this and here I am doing that. And oh, I'm so busy and oh, I'm so tired. I just kind of like do this stuff. And it's not like people live your life how you want to. It's just like for me to actually get stuff done, I have to focus. And I'm ADHD and unmedicated. And so it's just like I can't talk about it, I guess, most of the time. And I certainly can't tell everybody. And I haven't really, like, I'm back on social media since I left it, like, since I deleted the apps on my phone at the end of the year of 2024. But, like, I'm back on it now just because you have to know what's going on, especially in New York. But I just am not, like, a documenter the way I used to be. And so, like, I'm busy and I like it that way. And nobody really knows anything that's going on. And then as soon as I get a moment where I'm not busy, I lose my mind. So like that's kind of where I'm at right now. And so I guess really what I need to work on is like grappling better with the concept of free time. Because your time's not free if you're plaguing yourself in your mind. And every time I'm sitting still, I'm thinking negatively about something. Or maybe not negatively, thinking critically of something, constructively. And that's exhausting. And yeah, wow, I'm being so candid. And watch me still post this. Like, I'm really changing. I used to not be honest about my feelings. I mean, I'm joking, but I'm, like, also, like, dead serious. Like, yeah, I like to do stuff, I guess, because when I'm doing stuff and it forces you to be present in the moment with people, then you're not thinking about what you can't get done. And so this transitional period, this leads me back to that point that I was making 27 minutes ago, is that transitional periods are tough for me, and this one's tough. And like I don't have an agent yet, or like a modeling agent in the Northeast. I still have representation in the South, but I'm like I don't have an agent yet, or I don't have a brick and mortar job yet, and I'm still working in the computer, stuff like that. It's just like things that you can't get done until you get done, and it's like, and I'm safe, and I'm comfortable, and like I have food to eat, but I also have a vision of what I want my life to look like, and I'm impatient. And all those things can be true at the same time. I mean, yeah, they definitely can be. They are. So yeah, I just think that's what I've been grappling with, like the most recently since I moved here, and like it's been a month and 3 weeks today, actually, exactly, since I moved to New York City. 1 week shy of 2 months. That's nuts. That's crazy. I can do hard things, I guess. Like the Glennon Doyle, Brene Brown of it all. Like, this is about to turn into that kind of show. I can do hard things. Like, I'll be fine. Of course, I look beautiful through the struggle, but it's not much consolation. I'm like, I can't see a mirror right now. All I see is what I see through my eyes in third person, you know? I was like, fuck. I used to think this is something that I'm gonna be really, really honest right now. I used to think like there was a time in my life where I felt very, very ugly. Objectively, whether or not I was not cute, I'm not sure. I'd have to look. It depends on the moment. But like I used to think that like wow, I feel so ugly and I'm so sad. And if I'm beautiful, then I probably won't feel sad anymore. I genuinely thought like if I genuinely felt great about how I looked or I looked really really good, then like everything else would be fine. And now I look great. Still nuts. Still nuts. So be careful what you wish for, folks. Be careful what you wish for. Because you might get what you want. You might have been wrong. What else should we talk about? Like I'm fully like in having psychosis. What is the definition of this word? I feel like it's misused. I'm just like fully like having a severe mental condition in which thought and emotions are so affected that contact is lost with external reality. So not there, but close. We're not all the way there. We're like not psychosis. I'm like halfway to psychosis. I'm like psych, and I just need the osis. Catch that dirt. Love Married to Medicine. Catch that dirt. What is something I loved about it too is I just watched a reunion, and they were talking to Quad. Miss Quad, she got it, she got it. And they were talking to Mariah and Quad about like their colloquialisms, like their isms, the things they say. They very like if you don't know the show, it's like very Tamar Braxton like vibes, and they actually reference Tamar because Miss Mariah was calling herself she, like in third person, which is something that Tamar used to do a lot, like on the Braxton Family Values early days, and then like Married to Medicine came out like 2013, and so like Tamar Braxton like thought they were reheating her nachos, and Mariah was like, "Oh, she's tripping," basically. But anyway, they asked her where they got all this language from, and she was like, "Well, we have good Judies, da 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 da." And Andy was like, "Oh, your gay friends," and I just love that it's like black women and gay men created the language that Gen Z thinks is Gen Z language, and that show was 2013. I'm like, it was like 15 years ago, and they're on Housewives, and it's the gay men and the black women saying like, "What's the tea?" and talking about shade and shade tree and catch that dirt and catch fire and all these expressions. Like she ate it up or just all these things. I'm like, you guys didn't come up with this, and like TikTok popularized language. Now everybody uses it. But I'm like, when you have like hearing a straight man say boots, I was like, what timeline am I in? Like, what is happening? We used to be a country. Like, you used to be able to tell when people were of a community, and now everything's become so conflated. And, like, it's fun for them because it's not, like, their thing, and it's being, like, now oversaturated. Or, I mean, I'm being nice. It's being appropriated, really. But nobody's listening to me. Anyway, so I just really loved on Married to Medicine when Miss Quad and Mariah were crediting their quote good Judies, aka their gay friends, for their like colloquialisms and stuff. I really thought that was fun because they were the most entertaining part of the season for me. Of course, it was gay people. Gay people are always at the scene of the crime, and I don't mean that literally. Don't quote me, Fox News. Can you imagine they clipped that part? Yeah, so I'm like, Donald Trump is nuts. He just signed an executive order trying to ban the Department of Education, which is like so illegal, or disband. He's stupid. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, what are we even going to talk about? Every 2 seconds is something crazy. Hey Metro. I really like living by the train track. It feels like a Bob Dylan song. Swear to God. I'm always like, hey you guys. I try to wave at the people. Like when you go on the roof, I would like, hey. Anyway. So what else is going on? I I really don't want to do anything this weekend. This is a Friday. I couldn't go out last night because I didn't feel well. And then it's like today's Friday, Saturday. I don't really want to do anything. Like I'm just kind of um I mean, if you want me to be honest, do you want to know why I really don't want to do anything? So last weekend on Saturday, my friend Jalen needed help filming a self-tape at noon. At the same time, there was a Darty, which is a day party for the old listeners. So no shade, sorry. For my more mature listeners, a day party. And at the Darty, um, it was it was at Club Cumming in the Lower East Side, in like Alphabet City. I said something about Alphabet City, like, because that's what it says, Lower East Side, Alphabet City. And I was like, oh my God, Alphabet City. Somebody's like, I've never heard somebody say Alphabet City until you said that. And I was like, oh, has nobody heard of Rent? Like, the only reason I said that is because I did Rent in high school and I recognized, oh, Alphabet City. Like, anyway, these uncultured swines. Speaking of Lady Gaga, I really love that song. Honestly, I have a boombox on the floor back here. I think I need to do like an updated CD tour vibes, but that's not today. I'm just saying like I want to show you my boombox and like my updated CDs. But anyway, I think I might listen to like the art pop CD today. I'm kind of feeling those vibes. Speaking of swine, um, so anyway, went to a Darty at Club Cumming, and those are famous last words. So I helped Jalen with the self tape at noon, Times Square. Like a self-tape studio in Times Square. We take a car to the Lower East Side. Jalen was going down there too. I go to the Darty. I showed up completely sober and an hour and a half late because I had to help Jalen film the tape. And I drink like a tequila Coke and then like another tequila Coke. And it wasn't like it was like the bar wasn't open yet, so there was just like bottles of liquor sitting there. And so I'm putting the tequila in the solo cups and I'm drinking the tequila Coke. I had two that I recall. I made myself two. I remember making two. Swear to God, I wasn't drunk. And then we made great. I'm so talkative. Like I literally got there. My roommate invited me to the party, and Vicky, and she told me like when I was on my way, she was like, oh, it's kind of like awkward. Like people are like kind of keeping to their groups of people they know. I was like, yeah, right. So I walk in there. I make my tequila Coke, my first one. I look up, and the first person that I saw that wasn't talking to somebody, I walked up to them and I said, hi, my name is Kobe Warner. What's your name? You know what I mean? Like, I'm that bitch. I'm like, I want to talk. Let's chat. I want to know everybody. I want you to know me. I think the biggest blessing is to be known. And not known in like an Instagram, oh, this is my picture way. I mean like known face value, face to face, real human connection type of way. And so I was just going around chatting it up, made myself another tequila Coke. I mean, talking to everybody that I can talk to, swear. And so then these people that I was like making friends with, I was like, oh my God, they were like, do you want to take a shot? I was like, sure. Now, here's where it starts getting a little dicey. I have this a policy in my, I was about to say my older years, but I mean like in my not illegal teenage drinking years where I don't mix liquor. I don't do it. I know I'm going to be hungover the next day. I don't want to be hungover. I know if I don't mix liquor, I might not be hungover. Don't mix liquor. So I mixed liquor. Long story short, and I don't even know what the liquor was. Somebody poured me the shot, gave it to me. You guys, next thing I know, it was done for. I didn't remember anything else after taking that shot. Like, this is almost embarrassing. I'm still going to tell you. Not almost embarrassing. It is embarrassing. I don't remember anything after that. I, like, exchanged phone numbers with a bunch of people. So, like, I took selfies and, like, somebody... Oh, my God. I met a girl named Lizzo. Literally Lizzo. And not Melissa Jefferson, the pop singer. And what's crazy is literally 2 days later, went to Lizzo's concert in New York City. So I met a white Lizzo, a woman named Lizzo, white lady. Went to the... or maybe, like, a they-them. It kind of had they-them vibes. Maybe non-binary too, but anyway, Lizzo. And then went to Lizzo's concert. Lizzo was incredible, by the way. I'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, Club Cumming. So I leave Club Cumming. I called an Uber home. I didn't go home. I got out of the Uber. Then I like tripped on the sidewalk. Long story short, I guess the paramedics saw me. Like I was walking like by myself for a couple of minutes after like I got in the car because I got out of the Uber. And it's a little fuzzy. I have to be honest. And so like, basically, I fall a lot, sober, by the way. And so I guess I tripped and fell or something. Like, I ended up where I was just, like, sitting on the ground. And there were paramedics nearby. Why? Don't ask me. But then they came over, and they, like, wouldn't leave me alone. Like, they swore to God they had to check me out because they saw me fall. And first of all, I don't think I really fell. And third of all, I was, like, talking to them and arguing with them. And so I don't know why they wouldn't leave me alone. Because, like, they put me... I can't believe I'm actually being honest about this. They put me on a stretcher. They put me on a stretcher. And I'm like sitting up in the stretcher, and they tie my legs down, and they tie my like my feet down. They tie my arms down, and I'm holding my phone in my hands like this, just like this, holding my phone. And I'm looking at them, and I'm like, now how the fuck did I get here? And I was like arguing with them, and it's funny. There's actually a vidi. Vicky took a vidi. Oh, is what I was trying to say, but anyway, so it's just like so stupid because I wasn't even that drunk. And then I'm on a stretcher, and then they like wouldn't let me leave, and then like I got an ambulance and went home, and then like felt like shit the next day and that night because I mixed liquor. So long story short, but really just don't go to a party in Alphabet City on a Saturday afternoon. Maybe, maybe that was the problem. And so anyway, loved that party. Actually, had so much fun, made friends, and then almost died after. Had an ego death. And so, yeah, that was the Darty. And then, oh, Lizzo. So, went to Irving Palace. Let me see what the venue's called. I think it was Irving Palace or like Irving Place or something. But Lizzo, Irving Plaza is what it's called. Lizzo's doing a small tour right now called Lizzo in Real Life in anticipation of her new album called Love in Real Life. And she did a LA show first, and then her second show was in New York. And I got to go to the New York show. Shout out to Vicky. And that was so fun. And she was so good. And she played like songs from her first two albums, knew every single word. Love her new single Still Bad. And so it was like really a good time. Like when you go to a concert and you really know the music, I feel like that truly enhances the experience. Like I really only like to like go to shows where I like to only buy tickets to shows where I actually know the artists, most of their music, if not all of it. And so in this case, I didn't buy the ticket, but it just so happened that I really, really like, love Lizzo. And so I just got lucky that it was somebody I enjoyed. But I love to go to a concert. In fact, there's no other way to go to a concert, in my opinion. I have to know the material, and I know Lizzo's old music like so well. And so it was a lot of fun. She looks great. She danced her ass off. I think she put on a great show. And I was really proud. I saw her at Music Midtown in Atlanta in 2019. And she was great then. But I thought she was really, 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 really great this past Sunday at Irving Plaza in New York City. Shout out Lizzo. Loved you. Also, I want to talk about this new season of Drag Race briefly. So today's Friday. A new episode is coming out tonight, I guess. Yeah, today is Friday. Shit, I thought it came out last night. It hasn't come out yet, but so I am caught up. I was about to say I'm not caught up. I really am just loving this season of Drag Race. I love Sam Starr. I love Anya Nerve, and I think she's gonna win. And I really, 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 really like Lexi Love. So those are my three favorites, I think. Also, Jules Sparkles is really good. But I think Anya Nerve just is like, she's taking it. And I love Lana Jarrett. I think she gets a lot of hate for no reason. Some people are just skinny and beautiful. Why are you mad? It's all some of us are good for. So, yeah, my only criticism is that they're all really young. It just kind of feels like the season queen being 34 or 33 or something like that is kind of ridiculous. Like, the rest of them are in their 20s. Kind of makes me feel a little like, I used to like when the queens were older because it made me feel like, oh, like, now that they're all young, I'm like, damn, should I be on TV? That's kind of what it makes me think. I'm like, oh, you're 24. I'm 22. I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, am I late to the party? Anyway, so yeah, I really, really like this season. They're really eating it up. I think they're all really talented too. It's great casting in that vein. Like, they're all really good. And they're really entertaining. And I like that they're messy. I feel like that's something that's been missing from Drag Race for a long time, is the mess. Political correctness is one thing, but like trying to like control the narrative and perceive how people are gonna or produce how people are gonna perceive you before the producers do it. I just feel like it's kind of a mess. I feel like the best thing you can do is be authentic and just hope you're likable. Just cross your fingers, and if not, don't go back on TV, honey. Anyway, so if anybody wants to put me on a TV show, call me. I literally will do it. Like, I'm one call away. What else is going on? Is there anything else I need to mention before I close out this episode of Koblizzy? I know it's much more casual. Obviously, I'm under a blanket. Like, I guess I didn't even really mention how cuddly I am today. I was just like, shit, if I'm gonna film it, they're gonna get me how I am. I was like, brush that hair back in a bun, honey, and call it. Yeah, I don't know if anything crazy is happening, to be honest. I got on Instagram and refreshed just to see if, like, anything was gonna pop up. The universe would tell me, right? I think so. So what have I been listening to this week? Just quickly. Conan Gray, his Kid Crow album turned 5. I love that album the day it came out, and I love it now. He put out 2 live versions of songs that already exist and a new song called Bed Rest. I listened to that once or twice, but I'll circle back, and I think you should listen. My friend Jake made me a country playlist, and there's a song called Lonely for Long. I like that one. And Getting You Home by Chris Young. Those are fun songs. Listening to country music reminds me of home. Yeehaw! Also love Love in Real Life by Lizzo. Still bad. I mentioned that. Loving Lil Nas's rollout. His new songs. He put out a song today that I actually haven't heard yet. Like after Hotbox. So there's one I don't know yet, but I'll shout it out next week. I'm sure I'm going to love it. I'm loving his whole thing right now. This era is cunt. And yeah, so television-wise, I talked about Married to Medicine. Just want to make sure I don't forget anything. And I really have been writing so many songs, you guys. Like, that's when I know I'm really going through something. I'm like, damn, baby, I'm writing 3 songs a day. Like, calm down. Something I want to mention. So, koblizzy.com has gotten an update. And it might change a little bit more, but, like, go check it out. koblizzy.com. It looks so much better than it did. I made the website myself, but the intention is that it doesn't look like I made it myself because I hate things that look homemade. And so you want to look professional so you can see my entire modeling. So you can see my entire modeling portfolio there, as well as all my music. You can purchase my music or find it on streaming platforms there. All my social media links are there. My entire podcast is independently loaded on my website. You can listen to my podcast on my website if you so choose. So, like, it's getting better, you guys. koblizzy.com. Give it a shout. Check it out, honey. That was a bar. In the car. Under the stars. Well, my favorite thing about saying if something is a bar is that I'm probably going to say car in the next few minutes. And that's like a Taylor Swift rhyme. Like, they always talk about Taylor Swift rhyming bar and car. Like, she's done it in so many songs. I think that's so funny. Because it's like, okay, but what else? Yeah, so what? No, genuinely, what else is going on? I am going to Baltimore in a couple of weeks for an HAE event. I really want to go to the FKA Twigs concert. I'm not sure if I get to go yet. I'm really trying to rack my brain. But I guess there's nothing else to talk about for now. Nothing left on the dome. It rained last night. And yes, I just said that because it rhymed with brain. But it did rain last night. Like, actually, like, kind of rained hard. Like, one of the hardest times it's rained since I've lived here. Yeah, so now I'm dragging it. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.